So now we're going to start to create some elements by face, and we're going to start with the floors based on the mass floors that we just created. And to do this, we need to have a mass which has mass floors already created for it. And we're going to go to Massing and Site, and under the Model by Face tab, we are going to select Floor. And now it's going to prompt us to select as many floors as we want. And I'm going to ignore the first floor, but select the second, the third, and the fourth floor, and hit Create Floor. Now, these are all individual floors based on the floor plate, but you can see that in this instance where the tower component and the rest of the model had a singular plate, it's going to think that that's one floor. There's a couple ways around this. One is to edit the boundary, and going from here forward, you're going to be editing the boundary of probably a lot of elements. And to do that, you'll see on the element under the Modify tab, you'll see an Edit Boundary option. You can also double-click the element, and you'll enter into a sketch mode where everything will be whited out, and you can't select anything but the boundary sketch of the element. So this is a piece of the shed roof that sort of collected the floor plate that I don't really want to be a floor, so I'm going to select this portion and delete it. And I'm going to use the trim command. It's trim extend in Revit. They're essentially the same thing for single extensions. And I'm going to delete this one first and then use TR to trim this corner together. Trim works a little bit differently than some other programs in Revit. It's asking you for the side you want to keep, and if you look at the tooltip in the bottom, it'll say click on the part you want to keep. And whenever you run the trim command and you select the second element, it will give you a blue dashed line to show you how it will extend. So we're gonna hit escape. If you ever have a gap and you have two elements or two lines together, I suggest you delete one and bring the others to fulfill the perimeter. It just keeps the border a little bit cleaner so that if you have to edit in the future, you don't have some weird snapping issues. Keep in mind that most things with a profile or a boundary sketch will need to be a closed element or a closed sketch, but you can have multiple loops for some elements. So here you can see I have the portion hitting the blue mass and the portion hitting the gold part of the massing. So these will tally together in schedules, and there is a single span direction associated with it. So this is a reason why you might want to make this floor multiple times and edit its sketch. Span directions are not so important for us now, but in the future you're going to have a primary span for your structure that's associated with the assembly for your floor. And that span direction can be changed with this span direction button. So just to give you an example, there's only one span direction that we can choose, and you're selecting whatever line is going to run parallel to the span direction. You don't need to change that now, but just for the future. Now we're going to hit check, and you can see that the red part of the mass floor is now gone, and it's just this element. If you want to double check any of this stuff, one recommendation is to run the command isolate element with HI, and that hides everything but the element you've selected, so that if you are trying to get into the nitty-gritty of editing the element, or if you're selecting an element and trying to change it and confirm that you're changing it to the right type, this is one way to quickly confirm that. To change the type, you can always select a floor, and as with most families, you can change its family to a type that you want. So we can change this specific floor to a wood joist that's 10-inch with a wood finish. And now if I click away and reset the temporary hide isolate, you can see that these two are generic 12-inch floors, and this is a 10-inch wood joist floor. And if I hide temporarily, you can see that the mass floors still exist, so eventually we'll turn off all of our massing components and only have our Revit components.